Hello, everyone. Welcome to the News Barn. I'm Daniel, aka Major Random.
My name is Chris Anderson, aka Colonel Crazy. Welcome to the News Barn.
It's a news show we're going to be doing on the Major Random channel. What this show does is we take things that have happened in the news recently and give our opinion on it.
Please don't be offended. A lot of things we say is our opinion, don't forget. A lot of it will not be politically correct. It will be probably disgustingly truthful.
But keep in mind, these are our opinions, and we'll respect yours as long as you respect ours. And yes, they will be politically correct, but they come from here, from what we hear.
Let's start on our first topic today. We're reading an article today. It looks like Jeremy Renner really got butt rammed by a woman today.
Yeah, apparently Jeremy Renner, his wife of 11 months, Christoph.
11 months.
Yeah, Miss Christoph Winter. Apparently, she was from Canada, and she wanted
11 months of intellectual conversations with the woman.
Yeah, and yeah, apparently she wants to divorce him, and I mean, if they're getting divorced in California, I mean, if anybody knows about divorce,
it's pretty bad.
Yeah, they also say it's when you get divorced, you owe the woman about two days of support for every 1 day you're married. So at minimum, Renner's looking at least 22 months or just under 2 years of payments he's going to have to pay.
On top of the child support.
Oh yes, yeah. They also have.
They have one child here.
They have a 2-year-old daughter.
Jeez. Well, it's just amazing that you would think as an actor and within the Hollywood industry, you kind of know, maybe getting married really isn't for you. You're loaded with a lot of money, and she seemed like a really hot gal. She probably banged the shit out of him. And he's like, well, if she's banging the shit out of me real well, like a lot of guys think, maybe I should just marry her.
I guess Hawkeye didn't shoot the target too well.
Looks like he didn't.
All right.
Jeremy Renner's been a really cool, more recent actor that's kind of come up. It sucks this happened.
Yeah, he was in the Bourne Legacy. Even though the Bourne series was really great, he did a really good job of taking that torch from Matt Damon's Bourne series and really kind of running with. We're not sure, and it's likely not they're going to make a sequel, but he did well with that, and he's done well with other stuff. I mean, Avengers.
Now he's going to be paying some, sweet, spousal support and child support payments. He's going to be doing a lot more movies.
It's sad, honestly. Think about it. Is a lot of these. Probably a lot of the child supports is for the kid, but you know that in a lot of family law cases, and I've heard this from a family law attorney.
Family court, what a wonderful place.
Exactly. They get a lot of wives. They get the lawyer. They'll get them to basically get the child support really, really high, and basically siphon off some of it for themselves. And no, they'll say no, that's wrong. That's
Things about marriage, really.
Exactly. And speaking of marriage problems and in the bedroom, we recently found out that a law is being proposed in New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, the supposed rape by fraud law.
Rape by fraud. Now, what does that mean?
Well, it came to my attention recently on a very popular talk show known as the Tom Leykis Show, where he had one of the
George Short.
Yeah,
George Short.
Right. So this lady has been a huge proponent of this rape by fraud. And you may be asking, what does that exactly mean? Well, Colonel.
Rape by fraud. Well, what it exactly means is that, from what she described, what's in this bill is if you lie to a person, and she said if you kind of lie to a person when you meet them about who you are or what you do, and they engage in a relationship with you. I guess a serious one. It was very confusing exactly what she was saying. I guess if a large relationship is built and it was all based around you lying, or I guess what she's saying, it's gender neutral, but we highly doubt that. And if they find out you lied, and in this I guess you're saying a serious relationship developed, then you will be prosecuted.
Yeah, the way it sounded was that, and a lot of people, I see from the conversation we heard, is that her opinion should be if you lie about anything to get sex, you should be thrown in jail. And she claims that slightly misrepresenting yourself would say that so you work for a company and you're just starting out. You say, yeah, so you're an IT guy, just starting out. Some guys will exaggerate because they know they're going to end up making a little bit. They're going to make it after one of those guys who promised. They'll say, yeah, I'm the head of the IT, or I'm one of the chief IT guys. Apparently, if she found out that you were lying, you get screwed, even though technically you're not lying about your job.
Or a lot of guys, they don't feel safe about telling a woman or a woman who has just met a guy doesn't feel safe telling them who they are because they sense that they're crazy. We've all met our fair share of crazy women. Women have met their fair share of crazy men. And we don't feel safe telling them, who we are. And, there's just a lot of issues I saw with rape by fraud. I mean, rape traditionally means, unconsensual sex. I mean, now you're saying, well, if somebody lies to get sex, I guess, or she wasn't really clear about what she was saying. She was kind of saying if you call the police after, let's say you go to a bar and a guy lies to you or a girl lies to you, but when she was speaking, it was really more like if the guy lies.
Right.
We all know where that goes.
In the law itself, sexual lying to get sexual penetration, and we all know when we use the term sexual penetration, we're talking about a man.
A dick.
Yeah, basically a dick.
A dick going into a vagina.
Or
the
ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the orifice. The problem is when interviewed, apparently she didn't. She glossed over the fact that people pointed out that there are a lot of women. I'm not saying all women. There are a lot of women who will say, I am on birth control. This is usually girlfriends who maybe.
Oh yeah, there's mass amounts of fraud that occurs.
Yeah, paternity
with
fraud.
women.
Especially.
But and you're right. In the interview, she was kind of just brushing it off. But that's often, and it's right. The host Tom Likas was being very critical of a law like that because of how it realistically would be deployed in our society. Our society, most of the laws are. I mean, you're absolutely right. There's no laws on the books saying, cracking down on women who lie about being on birth control and get knocked up and then hit the dude up for big fat child support payments, and which costs thousands of dollars for 20, 25 years of that man's life.
Now, and before you call lawyers being chauvinist, we've actually heard from cops that this is kind of how things go. And ladies, a lot of guys do end up getting screwed because of these things. There are cases where, and this is not just fraud thing, is if a guy gets a domestic to 911 call, and maybe she says, no, it was just an accident and everything's fine, a guy can lose his job through some of these things, which is really sad. And this whole thing can fuck you, especially if this will make you register as a sexual offender, which would which was a black mark in any job. I mean, who has technically, if you wear shoes that make you a little taller, or you wear
women wear perfume when they walk into a bar. Women, But I mean, also another point is, how much lying do you have to do? It's like, oh, I said I made 1.5 million. I only make 500,000. Are we really as a society just gonna throw people in jail.
Or you make 500,000 and you claim you made 550,000. There's too much gray area, and it'll be exploited for that.
I saw her. I read her her story. She was victimized. She was married to a man for 40 years, who lied. But she said on her what is her website or a blog I read. She said she was married 40 years. She got divorced finally because she found out this guy lied about his educational background, his military record, and his religious affiliation.
Wasn't she Jewish and she got hung up?
Oh, I don't know. She said he lied about his religious affiliation.
Which, yeah, and a lot of people get hung up about religious affiliations, and I mean.
No, I understand it was important to her, and she felt victimized, but and she did actually. I mean, in that case, where you are signing. With a marriage document, you're signing, your name saying this is who I am, and I'm engaging, in this partnership. It's you do have to be honest about that. I mean, but in the other time, she was arguing with this host we were listening to, Tom Likas, and they were going back and forth, and he was saying, if you sign off on an official document. You're stating that's one thing. You're stating who you are.
My law is perjury.
Sure, but it's like other than that, if in the situations outside that, I'm under no obligation to do that. But I also thought it was just a little. It's just stretching the definition of rape because it's like rape is unconsensual sex. This is more now.
Now there is certain what's it called? Factors in rape cases where if it's coercion, which is based.
Sure, that's unconsensual sex.
Yeah, but basically you're forced based on let's say you want to get a promotion in a job, and your boss says, well, I can really make you get that promotion if you give me something, or I'm not going to talk to HR. That's like rape, or
sure. There was one case in California where a woman was asleep, and I guess her boyfriend was in the bed with her, and in the middle of the night he got up and left, and some strange guy snuck through their window and went into bed with her, and proceeded to have sex with her, and she thought it was her boyfriend.
Right. And of course,
I was a bit confused how her boyfriend can be gone out of bed that long and not notice a guy just walked in through your window. And
how do you even know this? How can she not even know this?
Well, no, it was his girlfriend. They were a girlfriend.
Well, no, how did she not know it's the same? Her boyfriend.
No, because I guess she's saying they look the same, and I guess that was analyzed in court. And
I guess because
I guess the boyfriend maybe I didn't read the details. Let's say
again,
maybe it was a 2-story house, and the boyfriend goes downstairs to eat something. He could be down there maybe for an hour. This is the middle of the night, and she's sleeping, and I guess some weird dude maybe was looking from a window and said, "Hey, that guy just got up. Now I'm going to come in and try to do this trick."
Don't say come.
Right. Don't say come.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, you're right. There is a certain amount of people look like me. If you take one of the guys from Red Hot Chili Peppers, I hope I'm saying the right way. And you look at Will Ferrell, they look almost like they could be brothers.
Sure.
So yeah, there is a certain overlap.
And that woman didn't consent, but it's interesting because her case.
But she also.
They said it wasn't rape. Actually, it was something. I don't know. Was it the California Supreme? It was actually appealed. The guy was convicted.
Right.
The guy was convicted of rape. Then it was appealed because they said she wasn't married. That's bullshit.
I mean, that's bullshit.
She was saying she wasn't married. This is actually very interesting. And it may have been on the books years ago, or maybe still is in some places, that probably years ago, it was on the books where if a husband raped his wife, it wasn't rape.
Right, yeah, because they expected that if you're forced sex, it's part of the wife's duties to perform sex on that. I mean, forced penetration of any kind is wrong.
With that, yeah, and that's so
opinion.
Crazy and
that's her opinion. Is that rape in general is wrong, but
calling having sex, lying.
Having regrets after.
Well, no, it's so widespread. Where does it begin? Where does it end? It's like, oh, this guy like I said he made 1.5 million. He made 500, but he really made 500,000. What's also interesting to analyze is it kind of goes with the whole gender bias in a lot of our legal system. You know, a woman is coming into a bar often there's a lot of women that walk into bars or other social establishments, and they're looking for wealthy men to mingle with. Right. And they have their own intentions of taking them and taking their money. So it's almost like, you know, where do you go when one person's committing fraud? Two people now are lying, really. I mean, a woman coming in and saying, oh, I want to do you, or I love you, or I'm attracted to you.
Or I'm 30 and I'm really 40.
True, exactly. Where would you really? I mean, but it's also like she wasn't analyzing that. It's like, okay, a guy lied. If a guy lies for casual sex, well, anyways, what is my name? What does my job have to do with if we're just having casual sex?
Of course.
What does that have to do with? I mean, you're attracted to me. I'm attracted to you, and we're gonna hook up. I don't see where
this is where you gotta watch.
My name matters, or if I make $1.5 million matters.
Yeah. Maybe you have. Hey, there's always possible you had a crazy, a crazy ex. I mean, I have family members who've had crazy exes who just stalked them and were abusive to them. Yeah. And maybe they don't want. Maybe they go under as a pseudonym to basically, you know, prevent. Maybe this person actually knows your ex, and there's always that risk of them coming back and being crazy.
And I see the point. You know, you lie to someone, you take their money, you take their property. You know, when there's real damages, but it's like, I'm coming to you in a bar and I'm saying these things, but you agree to have sex with me. But that's that. But you know, when you're listening to Joy Short, she was saying, well, it has to be more than that. Like she's saying in New Jersey, if one were to sleep with a man, or a woman sleep with a man, and they claim, oh, he said, she said, or he said, he was, or she said or like, I'm Brad Pitt's friend. And if you call the police and say, oh, I had sex with him and he said he was Brad Pitt's friend, they will laugh at you. She said it's not prosecutorial, but then she was talking, she said, what's prosecutorial is what's documented.
Yeah, so, and the sad part is also, that kind of rape, is she was also asked about, I mean, we've seen the news a lot about teachers getting prosecuted for inappropriate acts with their students, particularly in high school. And according to her, on a blog post later on, she said that it's fine that a child rape victim, when these kids are like 15, 16, or technically by law statutorily rape, they should have to pay.
She said that. She said that.
Yeah.
Joy Short.
Yeah, from what that's what I heard on her website. She had said that a man has to pay for child. Like she never on the actual show. Now, that's what I allegedly heard. Allegedly, she said this. But from what I've heard, is she sidestepped the issue when people asked her, "What about childhood? What about male childhood rape victims?"
That's insane if she said that.
Yes.
That she said,
allegedly she said that.
But I mean the adult, the older teacher, female teacher, the adult.
She's obviously
committed the crime. I mean,
and she's making more money, Kelly, as an adult who already had a job.
Yeah, that's crazy. There's a lot of gender bias in this nation. A lot of people tend not to want to talk about it, or they also tend to not want to see it.
Right. And speaking of bias, from our own state, California, we found a crazy possible law being pushed by a lawyer.
Oh yeah.
Yes, the what is it called? The Sodomite.
The Sodomite Suppression Act.
Yes.
Go and search that. It's
link,
absolutely disgusting.
We'll put a link in the description below so you can look at that. But and
it's actually disgusting. It's basically this lawyer from Huntington Beach that has submitted an initiative to be. He's going to try to put it on the ballot in one of the next elections. To make it legal to execute homosexuals.
I find that offensive because I have a number of people in my family who are homosexual and bisexual. I have an aunt who is who's a lesbian. I have a cousin who is bisexual but leans more towards gay, and I don't think it's right. I mean, a lot of these people are productive members of society. My aunt.
Well, of course. I mean, but you're talking about shooting. I mean,
yeah.
The whole whole law, the whole idea of it is absolutely preposterous and laughable. I'm curious though why this attorney is even doing this. I mean, I think he's doing it for publicity, but I mean, maybe he's doing it as a creepy social experiment, maybe? I mean, was he thinking he's going to, because he has to get to put something on the ballot, put initiative on the ballot. It was something like 365,000 votes.
It was nearly 400,000 people signed this.
But maybe saying, if it actually does go, look how insane and homicidal and how many minds have degraded, in society.
Right.
Maybe he's playing
like
a game.
Like Jigsaw from
Saw. I don't know, either he's building publicity for what?
Maybe he's trying to run for some sort of. The sad part
in California.
Yeah, the sad part is though California is a largely liberal state, it has a huge conservative population, especially among.
I don't think though this should be a conservative or liberal issue.
I know.
You're talking about shooting innocent people.
Yeah, this is a murder issue. That's a problem. I mean, you don't. This is what the Nazis did, and this is very.
I don't even take it this serious. I think I'm just curious. What is he trying to do? He's maybe trying to. Either he's an extremist, an extremist religious person that is trying to make some, idiotic point, or he's just he's trolling.
Right.
He's an extremist trolling the shit out of our system, or he's some guy doing a weird experiment. Or he's trying to build publicity, but it's like, what kind of publicity do you have from this? You're the guy who
cult following
wants to, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen crazier people pop up who can be very charismatic, and that's how most cults in America are formed. I mean, maybe he's trying to.
Because anything that would give you bad publicity. I'm known as the attorney that wants to kill innocent people.
Yeah, but if you're doing something like a cult, a lot of people say there's no such thing as bad publicity, especially if you're trying to do something like drum followers. I mean, especially if you're some sort of creatively against the government, kind of,
I don't know what he's against. He's clearly for the government because he wants to make it law.
Right. Then you can other crazy people who during oath in the power work for the law, and they play the law, and they're creative.
That's a good point. I mean, I don't know where you're even going in California. I mean, I think most even Christians talk. I mean, when people read this, they're like, "Oh, Christians are at it again." I don't think most Christians. I hope not.
Or most religious.
I hope not. I know there's a lot out there that are.
Well, don't just talk on the Christians. If you look at other extremist groups, no offense, but a lot of Muslims. And a lot of even some other.
I hope you're offended.
Yes, I hope you're. No, but there's also in the Middle East there have been these rumors that people who are homosexual have been killed because of,
Uganda, they have
Uganda.
anti-homosexual laws to kill homosexuals there.
Yes, Uganda.
I mean, we don't. It's just not part of the culture here. I don't know where this guy's going. He may be just a lone quack.
Yeah, it's funny.
He's a lone wolf nut.
You know what? Someone once pointed out. I mean, if he's trying to say, and if he's gonna come out with it's a lifestyle. If you have a gay guy who is born, say, in like the most conservative, a guy who is gay and he's born in like a really religious family, clearly he did not choose this. There are people who you realize are, gay, who are in like very religious families. Clearly they didn't choose that, because why would you want it to leave your family? A lot of these people.
Of course you didn't choose it. I mean, it's like the same thing. I don't choose to like women. It's came to me naturally. It comes to all of us naturally. A lot of these things are sexual preference.
Yeah. Sorry for being a big downer for this first episode, but that's been the random news. If you remember to like and subscribe.
We'll bring you back up.
Yes, and we'll probably be coming here every week. So support the stream, comment, and
tune in. We'll try to get better here and bring up some interesting stuff and share some interesting opinions and continue on.
All right, this has been the random news. I'm Daniel, aka Major Random.
And I'm Chris, aka Colonel Crazy.
And that's been our show.
Thank you. Stay sexy.
Yes.